Salute and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, I want to weigh in and give my thoughts on this whole Coach Kazama situation. This has been something that's been going on for quite a bit. I understand that one of the more prominent Tekken creators and content creators, Mike Hollow, he had his channel struck very recently. I do believe that there are other channels that got struck as well. I do believe that there is a teachable moment here, but I will reveal that later on in the video. So pretty much what I want to do is I want to give my general thoughts on Coach Kazama as a player, because I did play him many years ago, which I completely forgot. I even forgot that through playing him, he is a friend on my Xbox friends list, which I totally forgot about. My personal interaction with him came many years ago, about 4 years, based on the history of the messages that I will show. I completely forgot all about the guy. When all of this Coach Kazama situation started to kind of bubble up and percolate, the name was familiar to me, but I couldn't quite place it. You know, I was like, where have I heard that name before? Coach Kazama. It was like something from the past, but you wasn't too sure if maybe you was tripping, whatever. Come to find out, I'm going through my Xbox friends list and I see the name. And then in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe it's not the same guy. Maybe it's somebody else, you know, that just so happened to use the same name. But it ended up being the same guy. But first, let's go through his website real quick. And so whoever did his site, I will say this, I think it's pretty well done. He does have 294 subscribers at the time of this video, and I'm doing this December 13th at 9:17 in the morning here in New York. Let me see. So he has a couple of testimonies here. So people are definitely liking what he is offering. You know, I can't speak to the validity of these. I don't know if this is just people who he may have gotten to give him a positive review. I don't know. You know, I don't know either way. All I can go by is what is here. So you know, if I'm going to take this as being truthful, then he has been, you know, given good advice. Becoming a member is free. You can subscribe for free, become a subscriber, unlock exclusive posts, discounts, so on and so forth. So I guess this is what this is what we all see when you come to the website. You got the trainee, ascendant, and master. Okay. Because I watched a Mike Hollow video where Mike Hollow was breaking all this down. So I don't want to go too in depth on this. I just want to just give a little bit of context. And also, I haven't really gone through the website myself. So, you know, just kind of giving my insight into this. I will just say this. What he is doing it's not illegal. It's not unlawful. Is it a bit unethical? I guess you can argue that. For me, I would say that for me personally, I wouldn't charge these types of prices. But, you know, what he is doing, I guess it's working for him. So from a business standpoint, I guess he's doing pretty well for himself. I don't know if he created this website or this section here. I don't know if he did it himself or if he commissioned somebody to do it. Either way, I think this is pretty solid. Like I said, the pricing is mainly the point of contention here. I would not pay these prices. I would not charge these prices, but that's just me. I do think that people that have been making content over the validity of his coaching style, the things that he is sharing with his prospects, I think that many players that are doing that, you know, some are very critical of what he's offering. And if I had to guess, he probably looked at all of that type of criticism and was like, well, this may or may not affect my brand, and it may impact potential clients that I may be able to sign up for or what have you. So this is probably why I think he decided to strike these channels. I do not believe that Mike Hollow is the only channel he struck. I don't believe that striking someone's channel is... I feel like doing that should always be like the last resort. I do feel that it's like a break glass in case of emergency. I can't speak to anybody else he may have struck, but based on the little that I do know of Mike Hollow, as I've been on his stream a few times, he is a pretty measured individual, quiet, respectful, I would say. And I have no doubt that if this Kazama individual reached out to Mike Hollow and had like like an exchange offline, I'm pretty sure that whatever, within reason, whatever Kazama would have asked Mike Hollow to do, Mike Hollow would have acquiesced to his request. I do believe that. But I think, you know, perhaps what ended up happening is Mike Hollow was probably one of the videos that was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, because we don't know how many other channels that Coach Kazama struck. We don't know. I don't know. And maybe, like I said, I have no idea. Maybe those channels were doing the most. Maybe those channels are really attacking him personally. Maybe we're being really fucked up. I don't know. I'm just saying as a possibility. So it's like now seeing Mike Hollow's channel, you know, while I don't think personally there were things that Mike Hollow was saying that was overtly egregious, but you know, I can understand people may see things from different lenses. I definitely affirm that with both Kazama and Mike Hollow being content creators, it was not impossible for Kazama to reach out to Hollow directly and say, hey, you know, X, Y, and Z, I don't like what you've done. Can you alter it, remove it, whatever? I'm pretty sure they could have came to you know, something that would be beneficial for both parties. For me, looking at these prices, yeah, I look at it like this. Anybody that's willing to charge for these types of, you know, these prices, I wouldn't bother making too much content on an individual like this, because there is that chance that they will just react and strike your channel. I'm just being honest. Like, I just look at this as these prices are, as for me personally, they're outrageous. But if people are signing up and they feel like they're getting benefits from this, look at this, $500 for Tekken King. I mean, I'm a certified personal trainer, and I don't even charge these type of prices. You know, and I've trained people in the past in Tekken. I feel in order to be a good coach, you need to put your client ahead of you. You have to drop your ego and just try to meet them where they are. And when I was doing this, that's what I tried to do. And even with some of the videos that I put on my YouTube channel, You know, I don't charge nobody's $500, but you know, I put it behind channel memberships to get a little bit of money for myself. It's like $5 or $2 or whatever. But $500, that's very, very egregious. But again, it's not illegal. It's not unlawful. It's just something I personally want to do. I can understand the community's outrage. I can definitely understand it. But I think people need to understand that this is not anything that he is doing that's illegal. Unethical, you can argue that, but definitely not illegal. I don't think he's violating any terms of service. This is his branding. This is what he's choosing to do, and it is what it is. I'm not a fan of it, but you know, if people are paying for it, paying for his services, you know, that's on them. You know, if people feel they have value working with this individual as a coach, and it's worth them paying $500, that's on them. But I do hope that the situation with Mike Hollow, with his channel, I do hope it gets resolved respectfully. I don't know if anybody else got struck, but as I stated many times in this video, I'm pretty sure he is not the only channel that got struck. Now, when it comes to my own personal interaction with him, I would say we got off on the wrong foot initially. And then in this next segment, I am going to show all of those messages that we had between each other and how it ended up getting resolved. But I will say that I am the superior player, and I recognize that when I did cross paths with him online, at the time, it was an absolutely horrendous connection for me, not for him. And I covered all of that in this next section. So what you're seeing on screen right now is an interaction I had with Coach Kazama, and this is dating back 4 years ago. So I'm just going to go through this. So pretty much I'm salty here. I can vaguely remember the match, but yeah, so I'm basically commenting on, you know, that Asuka is an annoying ass character, which she is. Nothing but panic threes and counters, which is pretty much what he was doing for the majority of the match. If you had to actually block any of my moves, this set would be so much easier. Then he suggests a first to three. And then I think because I probably took a little while to respond, he said, that's what I figured. But yeah, and I said I was eating. You want a first to three to see how many times you're going to counter me? Are you going to run it or nah? You good, homie. LOL. Asuka tough to deal with when I'm trying to run my offense, which is basically the truth because she's very much a disruptive character. But I said, sure, why not? I'll set it up. I'll test some new things on you. He's like, okay. Now, Brian is a great counter, which she is because she can't counter knees and elbows. He's like, invite. So we had a bit of an issue, or I had an issue when it came to inviting him. He's like, add me real quick, invite sent. So he wants to go to 5. And I'm like, well, whatever you like. And unfortunately, there's no timestamps for these messages because they're so long ago. And I say, I think Lei has 3 moves she can't counter. And she should be in DOA, LOL. I'm holding back my offense because of bitch counters, hence why I don't respect this character. And that's the truth, because more often than not, when you're trying to open up with using your particular offense, you have characters like her, and then you'd later encounter like a character like Leroy, for instance. This is the reason why I call them dead or alive characters, because they can basically disrupt your whole offense by just countering you. Now, sure, are there ways around it? Yes, of course. But it is very fucking annoying. Let's just be honest. So to move forward, I forgot what he put here, but it says offensive content, so who knows what this was. And I put cute. Between the lag encounters, this move difficult than it should be. Lag killed my combo. He says excuses. It's clear as fucking day you were counter hit up forward 3 guy. Now, what ended up happening in that particular like I can barely remember it, but based on this, I'm using lay. I do up forward 3 with lay, which is up forward, up forward 3. It's a 16 frame launcher mid, and it landed on counter hit because his connection was absolute shit. When the opponent is falling down, you're in crane stance with lay, and you press 3. Obviously, the move never came. Well, the move came out, but it came out late. He ends up dropping out of my combo, and I am losing the round. Hence the reason why I was upset here. Let's see. I go to crouch. My character's still standing. Online is trash, which it is. Of course, what else would you do? Probably a counter, or he probably did a panic move for all I remember. And I said, without counters, this would have been 5-0. He says, good games. And I said, more? And he says, okay, I'll invite. And I said, let's see how you fare versus someone you can't parry easily. Dog, your connection, size. I'm trying to make the best of it, but damn. I can kind of, yeah, I can kind of get my offense going, but defensively, I can't react to shit on here. He's like, yeah, your lay is better. So more than likely, I was probably running Steve or some other character. And I said, I see you don't know how to read. He says, we're playing on the same connection. No, the fuck we are. We aren't. He's like, are you a East Coast? Doesn't matter. It doesn't work that way. I already told you. Look, kid, I get it. You're an online warrior, so you're used to shit connections. I'm not sorry. He says, game froze. Thank God. I'm not. I play offline every weekend at local tourneys. I said, hopefully I'll come across a better connection. He says, okay. I said, good for you. I've been competing since Tekken 4. So that's me responding to that particular message. He's like, cool. All my inputs are delayed, understand? So if you fake her sweep, the connection will not register in time my next command. When I'm dash canceling towards you, you throw out a random move. I'm canceling my dash to block. Instead, I just get hit. He says mine are delayed as much as yours, which is absolute bullshit. And then he's like, quit whining. I can tell just by how you're playing, how you're moving. He says, that's not how it works, but okay, good games. And I said, I normally send players like you to losers bracket, but online, you guys are superstars on here. He says, that one made me laugh. Thanks for that, superstars. And again, I reiterate, I say, I can see by the way you're playing, no drop combos, missed inputs, reacting to 20 frame lows. No, sir, you do. I meant to say you don't have my connection issues. There are a few on here that I can play to about 75% of my ability, but versus you, I can barely block a 30 frame sweep. And yeah, that little sweep that Asuka has, I think it's like 4-3 or one of those moves. I could not react to that move online during this set. And it's funny, as I'm reading these messages out, I'm vaguely starting to remember these matches that he and I played. He says, keep telling yourself that. So he's basically priding himself on the fact that he's running launch punishable, slow sweeping moves that I clearly in the match I can't react to. And I say facts are facts. And he says, if it makes you feel better, you must have never played Tekken 6 online. So then I go and try to now educate him at this point. And I said, sorry, you okay, but not on my level. You were playing at your best. I wasn't. And managed a 5-3 victory. So basically that goes to show that earlier, I guess I don't want to go all the way up, but when we agreed to do a first to 5 set, I beat him 5-3. Let's see, where am I at now? Yeah, and then I go to say offline, it would have been 5-0 or 5-1, because at that time, he was not a threat to me whatsoever. He wasn't a trash player, but he just wasn't on my level. And So then he says, offline, I play 2 times better. Not a single sweep would land. And I said, kid, I won a championship online for that. YouTube Blood Red GGL. He says online championship, LOL. So he's basically scoffing and laughing at that. And I said, yeah, top four were flown to Cali, then fight the finals. He says, that's great. Offline is better. If I could play you locally, I would. Then we go on to, I show him a few things. I show him my match versus JDCR and so on and so forth. And then we kind of have a little bit moment of levity here. And I said, this was my last tournament appearance. Lei wasn't even released yet at this time in 2017. In fact, I've kind of realized now, years later, this was 2018. It was 2018 when Lei was released. I kind of forgot at that moment. So yeah, so ultimately, this kind of goes into more, we kind of started to have a bit more of an understanding, but initially it didn't start off great. It really did not. So you can see here, it says, damn, you've played against all the OGs. So he's starting to actually now recognize that I am far more than just some online guy that he happened to come across. And yeah. And he says, yeah, you weren't really struggling, no lag, exactly. Yeah, and I go said, but if I had this version of Lei in my Tekken career, I would have won more championships. Most of the OGs from that time respect me. Lil Majin, Slips, Gin Master, Crow from Texas, Anakin, you know. So that's, and then we start talking about other things or whatever. So ultimately, he definitely was not a player that, he wasn't a player that was really much of a threat for me personally. It was just typical Asuka bullshit. But when you factor in latency and lag, it's very hard to take full control of your character in a match when you're getting hit by moves online that you would never even, those moves that you would never really get hit by unless, you know, they were very much expertly set up, or they may have landed on, like, maybe it was a high crush, but you know, just throwing the move out and getting hit, even though when you see it and you're trying to react to it and you try to go and duck down to block, but your character is just staying, your character is standing. And moves like, say, snake edges, laws down back 4. I remember Xiao Yu, she had, she can do her sweep, cancel into back turn, and do the back turn 4 launcher. A lot of those techniques would work on players because of shit connections. And so that was really the main point of contention I had with him, that I could tell by playing him. He was a solid player, but he was definitely not nowhere near on my level. I can tell because I've played elite level players. But eventually, you know, as you can see from that exchange, I guess we kind of had a bit of an understanding, and the interaction went well toward the end. And yeah. Well, I do hope that you enjoyed that little exchange that I had with Coach Kazama. There was a lot in there. As I was saying, that was basically an exchange that happened 4 years ago. I think it ended off amicably. You know, I think once he realized that, you know, I was someone of note and someone that has put his time and paid his dues in the franchise as I have, I believe there was a measure of respect there.